And we're live.
Hey, hello. It is the Go Birds podcast presented by the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app. Day 3.
Day 3.
Playoff pods.
We're still going.
Day 3 of many.
It'd be wild if we quit after 2 days.
Sorry, guys. We just got busy.
It would not be a good omen.
We just got busy. Busy happens.
Yeah.
I'm reading my book constantly. I'm actually really sad.
About a book?
Yeah. So it's 1,330 pages, the book.
That's absurd.
And I'm on page 1131, so I've only got 199 pages left, and I'm really sad that it's going to end soon.
That's wow. That's a lot of reading.
Very
I was
sad.
thinking last
really
night.
enjoying it. Shout out to the Way of Kings, book 5.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
All
it's a fantasy series. All the books are like that. I've read like 6,000 pages by this guy.
That's bananas.
Yeah,
but I'm
nice.
happy you're
Yeah,
enjoying it.
it's pretty great.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, over 1,000 pages.
Love it. Like I'm again, I got 199 pages left, and I'm talking about how sad I am. It's almost over.
Do you think you know how it's gonna end?
So it's part 5. It's a 10-book series.
Jesus.
It's only the 5th book. Apparently, there's supposed to be a time jump between the 5th and 6th books. So I have no idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this might qualify as a final thought, but it seems too on topic. I was thinking
that
last
was
night.
my final thought.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what we were watching. We were watching something last
All right,
night.
Glenn and Ray.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let me tell you about the TV show I was watching. But it's crazy to think when you used to need information, you had to read a book to get it, but you also had no idea where in the book that information
Dude,
was.
we have to do you remember? I'm a little
Must have
older
been
than you.
something with a library.
A little older than you, and I don't know if the 5 years between us or whatever make a big difference, but like I'd use the encyclopedia to write
So
papers.
that's
and
exactly
stuff.
how it
okay,
came up,
yeah.
'cause-
Like I had like Britannica in my
Yes.
house. Like we used to go to the World Book at school where you would be like, all right, I got to write a paper on frogs. It's like, let me get the F version of encyclopedia and go to
Yeah.
work.
So this is what it was. We were watching Night Witch or Night Curse Word?
Night B. Got
Yeah.
it. No, I got it. The
Wild
Amy Adams
movie.
one. I haven't
Wild
seen
movie.
it. I heard she's good in it, but
She's
the movie
good.
is so.
It's like a weird.
It's
But
what I've
anyway,
heard.
she has to go to the library to find out some
About
information.
giving birth, right? Essentially, ultimately, on the day, or about being a mother.
It's about being a
Yes.
mother. Yeah. And I would say giving
Yeah, both of
is
them.
a theme in it. But anyway, she goes to the library, and it's just wild to think you'd walk in a library and
I
be
know.
like, I need to learn
Yeah,
about fraud. Like,
totally.
What do you got? And the
Totally.
librarian's like, well, this one.
And then the Dewey Decimal, and we're like, all right, J.
Well, that's crazy, too.
0.13.
I forgot
Okay, I
about
found it. Okay, that one. Oh, where's this one? Someone must have put it in the wrong
Dude,
spot.
I
Like,
forgot about the Dewey Decimal System. That's bananas. And
It's
to your point, putting it in
it's
somewhere else, it's
bananas.
like,
I know.
well,
Like,
that's
it's just
that.
gone. It's
Yeah.
gone. you
I'm
know?
never gonna find it. I guess I'm not gonna learn about frogs today.
There are definitely younger people listening to this pod going, "What the?
I
bleep
know.
are these guys?"
I'll be
talking
curious
about?
on how much of our audience is.
Probably
on
not.
pod.
I think
I would
about-
think a decent percentage.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
even people like.
And there are
like-
still libraries.
Like, and there are people I think are like, even the 5 years between you, like, I think like Drew from Westchester's early 30s. I'm not 100%
Yeah.
sure, but he's somewhere in that range. Like, the difference between you and him might be enough. Like, because
Right.
technology did leap.
Jack.
Jack, yeah, I'll bet you Jack never had to use an encyclopedia.
It's crazy.
for
I
a
always
paper.
think of me, you, and Jack as roughly the same age.
Yeah.
But it's pretty crazy.
I'm 13 years older than Jack.
That's crazy.
right?
And it's crazy.
And you're like 7 or 8.
no,
Yeah.
you're
Nick's
right.
like 30. Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
He's
yeah.
exactly 30 right
So
now.
we're exactly in the
Yeah, I
middle,
think we're like
almost,
right.
which is
Yeah.
wild.
almost
a little
like-
closer to you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Pretty wild.
I know. So let me preface this by saying
Mhm.
it's going to be a roller coaster week, and I'm ultimately going to pick the Eagles.
We're talking Eagles now? Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's
to
get
be
into the
clear,
Eagles.
I feel like this is how my week is going. I'm curious if the listeners agree and where you're at, because I think actually you're going the exact opposite.
It feels like just from you saying I think I'm gonna pick the Eagles to win. I feel like we're going completely
Right.
opposite direction.
So I think they're going to win the game, but I will be honest, as the game gets closer, I get a little less confident, and it feels like you're getting more
way more confident.
Yeah.
I'm honestly I'm a little concerned about how confident.
Well,
I am.
that's
Yeah,
maybe
and
where
not
I'm.
in a
Maybe by
they
tomorrow
could lose
you'll
because
be
I'm
where
too
I'm at.
confident. Just because I know they could lose. Like I know. I've been in these spots. I thought they were definitely beating the Chiefs. I thought the Phillies were beating the Diamondbacks a couple years ago. I
Right.
thought the Phillies were winning the World Series a few years ago. Like I've been in these spots where I'm like, I'm sure this is happening.
Right.
I'm sure they're beating the Packers. I'm there again. And I know that it could be wrong, but I do feel, and I know I'm not like sure, I'm not guaranteeing a victory, but my point is I do feel incredibly confident going into this game, more confident than I thought I would
So
prior.
I think they've earned your confidence.
Yeah.
Number one, I don't think it's misplaced, right? Like they've been, if not the best team in the league, they're certainly top 3, whatever you want to say. Like Lions, Bills, Chiefs probably not in there, but
But either 15 and 2,
Yeah,
so you
right.
still got 15 and 1 in games they tried.
So I
Until
think what
Carson
hit
played.
me yesterday was I was on with Spike and Ike on the afternoon show,
There
and
we
we were
go.
discussing like,
Did Jack take the week off, by the way?
Yeah, I think he's off. Yeah, still.
I mean,
Which
it's
is
okay.
crazy.
It's okay.
It's playoff week.
I'm just saying. I didn't take a paternity leave.
Well, you
until I
know
was
what's
born.
funny?
I'm just saying, because it was football season. So,
When I'm off, I hate when people joke about me being off.
I know,
But when other people are
Love
off,
to do
I
it.
love to joke
Love
about
to do
it. Yeah.
because it's what we do.
I know, but
Yeah,
it's just
I know. Whenever I'm off, I'm always like, they're definitely ripping me.
and I'm like, "Why? Like, I'm allowed to take time off." But,
I work really hard,
yeah,
guys. Okay?
exactly. So, we were talking about this with Spike and Ike yesterday, and I'm curious where you fall.
Mhm.
Like, I think what's hitting me is how important this playoff run is. Like, this is
So
this
I
is
said
a
this.
crucial.
We actually literally had this conversation walking out of the pod yesterday when I drove you home. I was
Yeah.
just like, because we talked about 2022 going into that Super Bowl where I was like, they got to win. And you were kind of like, listen, it's been a great year. I hope they win, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to look at this team less if they lose. I said, do you go? I'm like, in this one, like, they got to win, right?
Yeah.
Like, we all agree there's no like great year if you don't win the Super Bowl. Like, it is a Super Bowl or bust is a phrase that's thrown around. This
I
is
think this
a
is it.
real deal Super Bowl or bust.
And what's conflicting to me is losing to the Lions is fine in a way.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like, to use your terming, like, in theory, it's acceptable
Yes,
to lose
it's an
to a team
acceptable
like
loss.
that in
It's
their
not an
house, but
embarrassing
you can't
loss.
lose to the Lions, and that's fine.
But the thing that's also struck me is like, if Nick and Jalen lose the Super Bowl or don't win it this year, or let's say they get to the Super Bowl and they lose,
God,
there's only 2 quarterbacks. I think only one quarterback has lost his first 2 and then went on to win it, which is Elway. And I think only one quarterback has won one after losing his first. So I guess it'd be 2, obviously.
Well, the wild side is
Greasy and
just, and
Elway,
we've
I'm
talked
pretty
about
sure.
this. Goff and Hurts have a really good chance to end this, but the last 19 quarterbacks,
I didn't think about
the last 19 quarterbacks who went to the Super Bowl and lost it have never gone back.
It's crazy.
19 in a row.
I didn't think about the fact that's almost guaranteed to end.
It's likely. It's likely.
Right.
Yes.
But it would be pretty surprising.
It'd be pretty surprising
If it wasn't the Lions or the Eagles.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
But like the team is set up well for next year. So they're in a unique situation where you can certainly point and go, they're young. Hurts, I think I leave this year, and obviously the playoffs will impact this, but feeling better about Hurts than I did at the beginning of the year. I think
without a doubt.
And I probably
went
better
back to protecting the football. He went back to not making those big mistakes.
I think
like, there's still questions. You could still say, will he ever be a top 5 guy or whatever? But like, I think you feel really confident that Jalen Hurts can be a winning quarterback in the NFL.
If Jalen Hurts is their quarterback next year, I'm pretty I would almost.
I think they have a
I'd
chance
bet a lot
to
of money
win
they
the
make
Super
the
Bowl
playoffs.
every year with Jalen Hurts as their quarterback.
The question is, can he be
the reason they win the Super Bowl?
Well,
or become that great?
Or just honestly, can he just do it in the big games? That's really not even a question.
I mean, he has done it.
No, I know, but I was thinking about this, how we talk about can you win Super Bowls with a guy? And like the Eagles can clearly win a Super Bowl with Jalen. They were 3 points away.
They almost did. They almost won the Super Bowl.
They definitely can win a Super Bowl with Jalen.
Factually.
And it's interesting to think that you could go your whole career being like, you could definitely win a Super Bowl with that guy, never win it, but it can still be correct.
Think about Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
You could have won a Super Bowl with Jim Kelly.
4.
Scott Norwood makes a kick you win the first one.
Right.
Like, you could have won but Jim Kelly, yeah.
Who do you think the fan base will change their opinion on, like, is more open to changing their opinion on in the playoffs? Sirianni or Hurts? So it does feel like both, despite their resume, are going in with quite a bit of pressure.
I feel like Sirianni is somehow going in with way less pressure than Jalen. And
really?
I think it might because of the injury and the rust with Hurts. So we did a poll today. What's your biggest concern for the playoffs?
Oh, yeah.
And we threw Nick in, even though I didn't think Nick should be in there or whatever. But it's like, we'll put him in there. And he lost the poll by a mile. It was like 3% said Nick.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, like no one was concerned about Nick. Jake Elliott was second. Hurts being rusty was by far the winner of the poll.
I think that's probably the answer.
So I think it's those two. I think it's Elliott and Hurts rust are the 2 things to be concerned. I know you're less concerned about Jake than I am. But I think, look, I agree with you. I think that if Nick does something stupid in a playoff game and they lose, it'll all come back.
Yeah.
But I do think heading into the playoffs, I don't think, at least Eagles fans, I think nationally, I actually think part of the reason they're not getting a ton of, they aren't being talked about like the Lions nationally is partially because of Nick nationally. I think nationally,
I would agree with that.
Nick doesn't get the credit that he deserves. I think in Philly, I'll say the majority of people have come around. I think
so too. I think that with Jalen, like, obviously, like, he'll be playing the games. So there's just a greater chance he will make a mistake or make a big play that will impact things. But like to kind of go where we were going with this, the Super Bowl thing, like if they don't win it this year, like the thing that keeps sticking in my head is, have they blown a chance to do this over 3 years? And they are uniquely set up again to win next year because they're young, they have cap space, like all those things. But man, we've seen what the baggage does, and
we talked about their schedule for next year.
The schedule's
the
tough.
Gauntlet that it looks like it's going to be the
So
Saquon year, how all the carries, all the wear and tear, all that. After he's not going to be 2,000 yards again, most likely.
As the week goes on, I think.
And look, they'll lose some guys this year. Like we've talked about it, but whether it's Bond or Mekhi Becton or whatever, they've got some big contract decisions. Nakobe Dean, like I know they don't have to sign Nakobe, but like we saw it after 2022. They lost TJ Edwards. They lost Marcus Saps. They lost like guys on that defense that mattered, CJ GJ and all that, and how he's amazing and all that. But like Zach Bond is going to make more money next year. Mekhi Becton is going to make more money next year, and how he can maneuver stuff. But like, it is unlikely the roster will be quite as good next year as it was.
Yeah, no, I agree. This might be a bad question, but do you think at the end of this playoff run, if they don't win, you'll feel more sad or mad?
I think it depends on how it plays out. My gut instinct when you asked that question,
I think sad.
Yeah,
that's
like
what
definitively. Like my gut instinct was easily sad. I just don't like if it happens like the last Super Bowl and it's the field and there's some like outside thing or a horrible call or Hurts gets hurt or something like that and they lose because of that. Then I could see the mad taking over. But I think for the most part, sad. I just they got to win it this year, man.
Well, you brought this up before we started. I thought it was I don't know if you just want to.
Dive in. Let's do it.
Could this be the best Eagles team of all time?
So I think if they win the Super Bowl, and that was my thing in 2022 too. That's why I had 2017 above them. Like for me, it did matter to close it out and win it. I think if this Eagles team wins the Super Bowl, considering what they've done this year with the number one defense, the way they've dominated 14-3 also, and again, literally the two of the three losses were drop passes by Pro Bowl, all pro level players, and Jalen got hurt in one of them.
The team didn't
win. And the other loss, the one loss, like the AJ, Lane, and Devontae, we're not playing much. Like Nakobe wasn't playing. There are other guys not playing. So I think, and then when we've talked about with the likely path to the Super Bowl they'll go through, I think if they win the Super Bowl, this will be the best Eagles team of all time.
Well, so in 2017, and every team prior to that, it was always just about chasing the first Super Bowl. I think this team is chasing the chance to be the best.
I totally agree with you.
Like if they
as 22 was as well.
22 was as well, but so I don't think 22 has aged well.
I think this team's better. I think if you play 20, if you play this team versus 20, and I think a lot of Eagles fans felt more confident in 2022 going in because they were the best team all year. And there was no Lions, there was none of that.
Although the Niners
were, but it wasn't the same time. Like the Lions are the one seed.
And you were going to be
Eagles
home.
Were the one seed, But I think that as it gone on, and we've talked about it, I think the offenses are similar. Like maybe 2022's was a little more explosive, a little better, but they didn't have Saquon and all that.
So I think this year's offense was better.
Probably. Either way, for the playoffs, it might be because of the running thing. But the defenses, I know they had a ton of sacks, but does any Eagles fan who has watched all games both years feel more confident in 2022 defense in this one? Because I can't think of one.
No.
Like this one, I have so much more confidence.
This defense is better. I was the biggest defender of the defense in Gannon in the city. Like, I think this defense
and Fangio's better. The whole thing. It's just better.
Yeah. And I think the difference on offense would be Jalen's probably not as good as he was in 2022. In some ways, though, we've had this discussion throughout the year. Like, in some ways, better. Like, the job
blitz
he's
stuff,
done
calling
with the blitz
plays.
stuff. Yeah. So I looked it up last night.
He's like growing as a quarterback. He just might not be like as effective as he was in 2022.
Yeah. So I looked up last night on against the blitz this year, he has 7 touchdowns and 1 interception.
Dude, he was awesome.
And almost 80% completion.
It was the number one thing we talked about coming into the season. We're like, fire everyone if they can't, whatever. We've had 0 issues all year. Like, obviously there are blitzes that have worked, but for the most part, we have not come out of a single game, not one, said, wow, the blitz got him this one. Not one.
Here's a question. If Nick wins it this year, does he pass Andy? He will have gone to 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, no, you're right.
He will have made the playoffs every year of his career.
I mean, like, I would argue, like, you could argue Doug passed Andy just because he won the Super Bowl, depending on what about.
I wouldn't
Nick
go there,
over Donovan, all that stuff. So, like, I'm a rings guy. I'm a flags fly forever guy. It's just hard. So I think accomplishment wise, yes. I think the thing that gives Andy still a bit of a lead over other people is that I don't think the Eagles are where they are without Andy. I think Andy was the one who really built the foundation of this franchise, the one who brought Howie in, trained Howie, Banner, the whole thing. Like, I don't think the Eagles, and I think Lurie learned a lot from Andy and him being around a lot. So I think that Andy is more important to the franchise, but I think there's an argument, that the resume is better.
So I would probably still go Andy over Nick, just because to your point, I think everything he did for the franchise
was more impactful.
And like, look, I'm not a what does Nick do guy, but there's no question Howie is a major, obviously.
Without a doubt.
So he has a GM that Andy didn't in a lot of ways. But so we've debated this a lot. Who's the best quarterback in franchise history? I've said Donovan, you've said Foles.
Yeah.
I think if Jalen wins it, I'd probably have to go Jalen.
Wow.
He will have gone to 2 Super Bowls. He will have won one of them.
I just don't know if I can get there yet. But you're right. He won.
Win-loss record will be absurd.
So, yeah, you're right. Maybe it is Jalen.
And so as good as Donovan.
Can you imagine? They win the Super Bowl. We go from is Jalen good to is he the best?
I don't even think it's a question.
You know what? That's the Nick Foles combo, right?
Yeah,
that's the exact.
That's how much this next month matters. Again, to the nervousness, but I mean, Donovan was obviously a great quarterback, but it wasn't like Donovan was Josh Allen or Patrick
Donovan
Mahomes.
did have his moments in big games where he didn't come through, you know.
So I think if Jalen wins it,
it's a fascinating.
I think he's the best, especially when you think about the path. I mean, you don't know how it'll play out, but. Look, if they get like the Bucks or whatever in the second round, maybe it dings it a little. But like,
I don't think it does.
If you go through the NFC North,
I don't think it does too, just because of the history of the Bucks. I think that makes it. I think that makes it still a good win for the Eagles. I think it's like more impressive if the Eagles beat the Bucks than if another team does. For that,
I always
you know what I mean?
to this, but it's like when the Sixers beat the Pacers.
Kind of, yeah. Like
they just had your number,
baggage, you know.
Or when the Eagles in the early 2000s, like the Giants always had their number, and then they beat them,
and then it flipped around, and now we,
But no, I think if they win the Super Bowl, Jalen's the best quarterback.
So I need to think about that stuff just because of this. It's really small too. He's only been here for a short.
But it's really only him or Donovan.
Yeah,
it's not Foles anymore. I mean, Foles has the first one
in the Super Bowl. Like how great Foles was in those 2 games in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, but he would still have the same thing Foles would have. And then also, let's be honest,
have another Super Bowl that he went to. Yeah, and a way better regular season accomplishments.
Yeah, I mean, Foles, if you want to get into it,
I think what it really is, it's an indictment of the Eagles' history as quarterbacks. Right. And also if there are any, Ray Didinger's listening, we understand we didn't see Norman Van Brocklin. He was probably the best quarterback.
He's not.
I get it.
But he's not. Like
I'm just putting it out there.
I know.
We talked before about the young listeners trying to help them out with it. Let's make sure we appeal to the older ones too. I mean, I'm sure we got some old ones.
If he wins,
I'm an old one.
I'm getting that. if Jalen wins the Super Bowl, I think it will go in my mind. Jalen, McNabb, Foles, Jaws, and then Vic would probably be 5. But maybe Randall. Randall would be in there.
Randall's in there, and then again, Tommy Tomlinson.
Yeah,
Tommy Thompson, and
he'll never be on my list. I'll tell you that right now. Not my personal list.
Sonny Jerk. No, Sonny wasn't that good here.
So another random question since we're just kind of bouncing around. Do you think the Eagles' offense underperformed or overperformed this year? They finished 8th in points, 8th in yards.
I think they right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
I think they performed how they should have performed. Like I didn't cut. I mean, I guess you could argue under. I mean, look, we came in saying they need to be the best offense in football, right? It turned out they didn't.
Yeah.
Because they turned out they had the best defense in football, and none of us saw that coming. I mean, they had the best rushing offense in football, so it's also kind of hard. I think points will be down because you're running more and stuff like that.
Well, they also killed so much time in the fourth quarter.
Which that's what I mean. They had 21 play drive. They didn't even score on.
Really,
you know
they
what I mean?
Could have easily had another 40
That's
points.
my point.
And I don't know how much that.
I don't know if overperform. We expect them to be a top 3 offense. I think they were more or less. So considering what they tried to do.
If I had to pick, I think I would go overperform. And
hold on, we came in saying they have to be the best offense in football,
right.
more or less.
So
they weren't. I mean, I guess they were the best at what they did.
So this is where I think it depends how you want to view it. Statistically, they were definitely not. Like, it's not like they were 3rd, and they were not the best statistically. I think, though, if you went through the league and said, which offenses do you want? Like, just I test what we know. I mean, Detroit would probably be one.
Detroit would be one.
Would probably be one.
Detroit averaged over 30 points.
Yeah, they'd probably be one.
Buffalo, probably 2.
But
Buffalo became the first team ever to score 30 rushing and 30 passing touchdowns.
So you would.
I mean, Buffalo averaged close to 30 points a game, if not over 30 as well. So I think Buffalo has.
So you would put Buffalo. I'm trying to think what else. Like,
I mean,
not Minnesota.
Pure offense. I mean, the Bengals are probably pretty high up there. Yeah. I mean, Baker had a really good year.
He did.
Offensively, they did. I mean, the Vikings offense was good too.
So my argument for
they're up there. I think it's Lions and Bills, and then it could be the Eagles.
My argument for overperforming would be, one, obviously the 2,000 yards on the ground. Clearly, even if you thought they'd be awesome, I don't think anyone thought he would rush for 2,000 yards. So that was an overperform. The passing game was not what we all thought it would be. But they took care of the ball. They threw it when they had to. I just ultimately I'm trying to think, how many games did the offense lose for them this year? It would be Tampa.
I mean, what do you want to? I mean, Saquon dropped the ball, Devontae dropped the ball. Like, so I don't know. I feel like the defense lost in that Washington game as much as the offense.
Yeah, so
did.
maybe you don't pin that on either one.
I don't know, but they also had 5 turnovers.
The defense probably didn't lose them a single game this year. Maybe
I don't
Tampa,
think so.
But again,
yeah, and that's like it's like I don't know if you could really say one way or the other, but I think the offense lost some more games than the defense. If we're going to talk about the 3 losses,
well, because what I think is interesting is when people rank like where they think an offense should be prior to the year. I know that the offensive line and all that factors into it, but like a quarterback's such a big part of it. So I don't think, I'm not saying you're doing this, but I don't think people that are like, the offense should be the best in the league, but also, how good's Jalen? Like that doesn't jive to me.
Of course, but we didn't do that.
No, I know. I think that if you look at what this offense was this year versus what they could have been, I think they were either right what you said, like right what they should be, or better. But I don't think they underperformed.
I don't either. I never said underperform any.
No, I know.
Really, other than the number 8.
Yeah.
All right. I want to get to the Jalen thing before we get out of here because I want you to set it up for everyone. I want you to let people know what to expect, when they should start to be concerned, if they should start to be concerned, how you expect this to play out. So for those who don't know, the Eagles' first practice is today.
Right.
I know off the top, he can't be cleared until tomorrow. We know that he has to practice and then wake up and report no symptoms. So don't expect a clearing today.
Right.
But what should we expect with Jalen Hurts today? Practice. What do you want to see if you're an Eagles fan? All that.
The first piece of news is Ian Book got waived. And the reason that's important is because that indicates they believe they'll have 3 healthy quarterbacks on Sunday. So
it's massive.
Good news for Kenny. Good news for Jalen, obviously. And then we knew Tanner was going to play.
That's a great point.
So as much as we'll get into the nitty gritty, the Eagles showed their hand. They showed their hand. I mean, they could bring him back on practice squad, and in theory, you could put him back on the 53 later in the week. But I don't think they do.
I don't think they take that risk.
I think they know Jalen.
I agree with you.
So
I think they've known for a while.
So I think they've been very confident for a while. Yeah. So here's the timeline for today. They're going to practice at 2:10 at the link.
Ooh.
Oh no, it's 3:35 now.
Oh, still at the link though. That's fun.
At the link.
Check out the playoff grass.
Exactly.
And all that.
New playoff. Can you imagine if the field's not?
Oh, buddy, no, I can't.
Messing with the field's a pretty bold.
There's like
move.
what I know. It is bold. I'm surprised
they
were doing it. I don't remember them doing that.
I don't think they did.
You would know better than any of us, but I don't think I don't ever remember them changing the field for the playoffs.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird.
I have to ask about why.
Yeah, but seriously, you should.
Yeah.
I don't know if Nick will know, but like
or
someone.
The team, but I'd just be curious for the reason.
That's Bob Lang.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll just go to make it better. Like I don't know what the other argument would be.
Are you guys worried?
It looks pretty. Yeah, exactly. So practice at 3:35 today. The one interesting thing will be, is he limited or full? Yep. And I don't know if.
Hold on, quick question. Can he be full if he's not cleared? Do you know what I mean? Like, is he technically automatically limited if he's not yet cleared? You know what I mean?
So he's not allowed to be contacted, obviously.
That's what I mean. So I think
but he's not getting hit in practice anyway.
So it has to be a limited thing, right? My guess is he'll be limited today one way or the other.
I think it'll go, limited, full, cleared.
Yep.
Is my guess on how this will go. So that's kind of it. I mean, he'll practice today.
So do you think he gets cleared tomorrow or do you think he gets cleared Friday?
I bet he gets cleared Friday.
Okay.
Would be
just because why not?
Yeah, because why not wait an extra day?
They're really tricking the Packers with this.
I know. Well, I think once he practices today, the Packers
can't figure out the Ian book. Also,
will be pretty clear.
The Packers don't have any sources around the league talking about what's going on in the building.
Yeah, it's obviously going to be Jalen. But I don't think they're doing this for gamesmanship. Just putting they do it with injuries. I agree. With this one, I truly
you just think they're just playing it safe.
I just think they're playing it safe.
Yeah.
And as a result, yes, there's gamesmanship.
I think it's partially that, but I think there's always the games. Even in their mind, if it's 0.01%,
they consider it.
I think that's what they. Yeah, I think I think in any of these situations when they do this stuff, I think they're like, and also,
well, it's like if you.
I think they make this in. They're like, and also, you never know. Maybe
there's this added benefit,
right?
Yes,
I think that's the way they look at it.
Yeah. So, but I will say, when I recorded this yesterday, I thought he would play. I was always pretty confident. I feel way more confident.
Good,
just because of
the Ian Book thing.
And look, it's what 10:26.
10:26.
So. We'll see. I mean, in 5 hours or whatever, I'll be out of practice.
Elliott Shore Parks on Twitter.
Yes. Well, Threads, Blue Sky.
For all of it.
Can I give a Blue Sky take quickly?
I haven't been on it yet.
All right. Here's my thing with Blue Sky. If you you got to increase the character count. No one cares about this, but I had to get it off my chest.
How many is it?
Well, it's like, I think 140 or whatever, like Twitter used to be.
Yeah.
And it's just annoying because I write something out for Twitter and then it doesn't fit on Blue Sky and I have to edit it.
So I know the Blue Sky is kind of like people are into it and stuff like,
yeah. I think it's so boring.
I might just be done if Twitter dies. Like, and I don't even, you know me, I don't even like Twitter that much. I just do it because I have to. And it is a good source for sports news when you need and stuff. But like, I don't think I could do another one. I'm 43. I don't you know.
That's how I feel about TikTok.
Yeah, I don't think I could just jump into something. You know,
I agree.
I'll let Zoe figure it out when she gets older, and then I'll hop on when she's doing.
Your Phillies takes.
Yeah. Hey Zoe, put some on TikTok for me, all right?
But I think it definitively for me in terms of like power rankings of social, I would go Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and I don't use Facebook, so
I know it does. Do they?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's still big, but I mean, you know what? Like, I feel like anyway, I don't use any of them. It's Twitter, it's it.
There you go.
I've never been on any others.
Anything else, Eagles?
I have a Facebook for work, because I have to be able to like put out like for the show.
Oh yeah.
Like
Same.
AMA coming up.
Yeah,
check it out.
yeah.
But that's all I use it for.
Trying to think if there's anything else Eagles that happened in the past 24
Not too
hours.
much. Yeah. Hassan Reddick did not meet the number of snaps.
Shocker.
Unexpected. The Eagles will be a third round pick.
They'll
from the
get a
Jets.
third round pick.
Now the
Still a
Jets-
good turnaround.
Now a little annoying they beat the Dolphins, pushing them back a little bit in that last
Oh,
game of the
true.
year. You
So-
didn't think about that, did you?
How about this? Would you rather have had, now that the season's over, Bryce Huff in the third or flat out Hassan?
Look,
Now everything comes with Hassan. Like,
like
you don't
Bryce
know if
Huff
he'll be
stinks.
happy.
Like I would not want Bryce Huff here, but I also don't know about the Hassan thing. But I wouldn't mess with this defense. This defense has been amazing.
Right.
But like,
I
do I
think
think
Stinks is a little
do
strong
I
for
think
him.
Hassan Reddick would be good? You know, would help this? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
why
So
not?
basically, would you
I would rather have
trade-
Hassan Reddick.
than a
If,
third?
if I knew that Hassan Reddick was not going to mess with anything, like if it wasn't like a problem, because we still don't know that. Like he didn't show up with the Jets. Like,
Well,
like
Well, what if it's all right? I'm going to come and play, but I'm not happy about my contract.
yeah, like
That's
that-
what he's saying to you.
So I don't think I'd want.
You would
that.
rather go Huff. In the third.
We're good right now, but I know I just get rid of Huff. I don't need Bryce.
But he
Huff.
comes with. So
I know.
he comes.
I know. I'll just
And,
take the third round.
No, I'll
pick.
say this about Bryce Huff. Like,
See you, Bryce.
I think he
Did
will
you
make
know
some plays.
We talked about this after the game. Do
He
you
was
really?
no, he was
He
pretty
played-
bad against.
He played against the Giants, who are horrible, and like we saw guys who never heard him make a play.
Yeah.
Like Trotter had 11 tackles for Oren Burks had 17
Well-
tackles. Do you know how many percent of the snaps Bryce Huff played? Did you see?
No, did a lot.
87% of the snaps.
Oh, that's bad.
Zippo
That's bad.
did nothing.
Yeah.
87. We were like,
He was
we
playing
like
well.
maybe he was only out there for a few plays.
No, he was out there in the fourth quarter.
87%.
So,
How about that? He did nothing.
well, so this is funny. It caught my attention, and I will preface this by saying Brandon Graham was not talking about Bryce Huff, but I did the Brandon Graham show on Monday, and we were talking about how Jordan Davis played and how he had a great game. And Brandon said something like, "That's one of those games where if you're a starter and you have to play, like,
you should dominate.
you should dominate." And he was like,
Which is what we said after. Yeah.
and then he said something like, "And if you don't, like, that's not it." And he wasn't talking about Bryce Huff,
was
but
just
the
talking in
first thing that
general.
popped in my mind
You're
was,
like, ooh.
yeah, that's exactly
There
what
was a
happened with
dude
Bryce.
out
Yeah.
No.
I feel bad for Bryce.
Hey, look,
no,
I-
he got paid. I'm not gonna say
51 million. I
Yeah,
don't feel
yeah.
bad, but I get it. I understand what you're saying. Like, I don't. It's not like I like hate the guy. It's not like I'm like, oh, I don't need to see him play football.
The last thing I'll say about Bryce is
And I wish we had not given him a
the
bunch
biggest
of money.
the biggest thing I'll learn from the Bryce Huff experience so far is how hard it must be when you're a player to pick where you want to go. Because I just the sense I get is neither side is super happy with this.
Oh,
And it,
yeah, I'm sure.
and it has to
I'm
suck
sure.
for him that like he was a free agent, he got all this money, which is obviously
And I'm sure he had
awesome.
other offers.
Yeah, and it's like it's got to be tough. Like you make these decisions in a span of like 48 hours.
Well,
he didn't
and
even
look,
come to
we don't
Philly.
know that he took the most money, but I do think it is a lesson and a thought. Like if you're these players, like I don't think you just always should take. I mean, the most money matters. Don't get me
Right,
wrong,
but
but
if we're
like
talking-
if we're talking a tiny bit difference between two, like situation,
Yes.
fit, coaching matters so
Well,
much in this sport.
here's an interesting decision. Let's say Kellen Moore gets a Saints job.
Sure.
Right. And he wants to bring Tanner McKee with him. Now, obviously, you have to trade for him and all that. But if you're Tanner McKee at this point, would you rather stick with
I'd rather be
Eagles
a
as the
starting
backup
quarterback.
or go
I'd rather
start?
you'd rather be a starting.
You think so?
Absolutely.
I think probably, but like
I understand what you're saying,
situation we just talked
but
about
I think
matters
you're
so
a
much.
6th round draft pick. I mean, you're getting a chance to start in the NFL. The team's trading for you. They'll probably give you a contract because of that. Like, you
Yeah.
have to.
No, you're right.
You
You're
have
right. I was just thinking how much it matters where you get.
100%. I think for
You know?
quarterbacks as much as anybody.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah, fascinating. All right. Let's get to final thoughts.
Well, also quickly,
Ooh, yeah, we
subscribe
got
to the
more?
pod,
Yes,
subscribe to YouTube,
please. I'm so
leave
bad
us a
at this.
5-star review.
Please do it.
Any interesting questions in the chat? I'm guessing
Oh, yeah,
not,
we forgot to
although I
mention
A lot of
have-
encyclopedia talk earlier.
I like that.
All right.
I
I,
like
can
that.
dig that. Any interesting
I would guess it's like
encyclopedia
4 people
comments?
having that.
Thought
Encyclopedia?
on Dotson returning punts full time during the playoffs.
I would stick with Cooper.
I would too. I think it's too deep in. I will say though, it was nice to see Dotson not suck in that game.
Dude,
Like-
I've said this all year. You have to say. I've said all year. I think this is more situational than him
I
sucking.
mean, they
He
don't
didn't
throw
get
him the
his
ball.
value
They
back.
Don't throw him the ball.
They didn't get the value
Yeah.
back.
Oh, it's a
but-
bad. It's a bad trade no matter what. But
Yeah. Dude,
interesting.
I think I have a fire final thought.
Oh, good.
I'm very proud of it. I
Okay,
wrote it down
good.
last night, and I wasn't as
Good.
into it.
I'm
But
really excited
anything else of interest?
because
No?
mine are not great. So
Okay.
What
I'm saving
potential
my good
NFC
stuff.
matchup scares you the most?
The Lions.
Detroit, right?
Yeah. But then I
Easily.
would say Tampa,
I would say the Vikings.
just for the vibe.
I get it, and I it's close. I would rather play Tampa than Minnesota in the second round, but either way, you know, I think are tough.
the Brian Flores would scare me.
That's what I mean. Yeah, the Vikings are good. They won 14 games
Yeah,
this year.
it's
Like
crazy.
if we won 4 more games in Tampa,
It's gonna
and
be
look, I
so
will
funny
say,
when they lose.
while
in the
Tampa
first
is
round.
like the Eagles thing and scary stuff, like Tampa barely beat the
I
Saints
know,
with the
I
playoffs
know.
on the line. So
The thing about Tampa is they are not afraid of the Eagles.
no, they're not. They're
Whereas
not.
I think like I'm not saying any team would be afraid of the Eagles,
But
but
they
like
are
the
a team that
Vikings,
plays
like,
in Tampa Bay, and it's going to be like it feels like 15 out
dude,
there.
I
you know?
agree, but it would still be my number 2.
I guess I shouldn't mention the cold with Tampa coming here as a reason.
Yeah, it's
We've
probably
been
not
down
great.
that road. Yeah, let's nix that one.
All right. You ready?
I'm. You set it up. Better deliver.
So I think they should rate TV shows like they do movies. G, PG, PG-13.
So I
R.
think they do. I
They don't. They do
They do
TVMA.
mature and oh, you mean
Yeah.
you mean like specifically use
Yeah.
the rings? Okay. I think
It's
the
crazy
thing
to me that let me go off.
Go,
Yeah,
cook,
let me cook. It's crazy to me that with movies we rate them, and we rate them understandably. Like you should know going into this is what it is. And for basically essentially the same medium in a way. I know movies and TV shows have differences. We don't just use the same grading system. Like why? Like why not use a universal system so we all know? Like when I put it, and again, I'm 37, so it's not like I'm putting a show on and being like, should I watch this? But like, why not rate a show G, PG, PG-13, R, like TVMA, and then they list all the specifics of what's going on. Like we all understand the G to R system. Let's just use that.
So I pretty much agree with you. I'm guessing there's
That's
a
what I'm
reason.
saying. I don't think anyone.
I'm
could
guessing
disagree
there's a
with me.
reason for it. Like
You think the movies like copyrighted it?
Yeah,
or,
I'm saying I'm guessing there's some
Right.
sort of reason for it. Like
or
it
no
is.
one's thought of it.
I mean, I'm assuming when they decided to put TVMA, they were like, should we just go with R?
I would
People
think.
understand,
I would hope if
know?
you were in that meeting, it would be
Be
the
like, all
first
right, well,
thought.
yeah.
So like we have to grade something. How should we do it? Well, if only there was something to judge
To grade
this
it,
off.
yes.
But I feel pretty strongly like TVMA. What are we talking about here? I think R. Well, is there anything? Is it X?
Well, no, there's NC-17.
NC-17. Is NC-17 below R?
No, it's above R.
Okay.
So it goes R, NC-17, X.
It's so crazy to think
triple X.
at one point of our life,
DMX.
we were all like,
not DMX, Vin Diesel, I mean triple X.
at one point of our life, we were all young enough where it was like, nah, PG-13, I don't know. Like it just
I never really did that. I
Well,
mean,
I
I
mean,
watched
at
Basic
some point,
Instinct
like-
when I was 9 years old. So,
Wow.
I watched Die Hard when I was like 9 years old,
that's crazy.
I know. Not really, though. I mean,
There's a lot of violence in
whatever.
there. Yeah.
I mean, now, are you kidding me? The games these kids play. I mean,
Well,
kids
it's
play, like, Call
also-
of Duty and
also
stuff
crazy
like
to
that. You
think-
wanna talk about violence.
Yeah. Am I correct about this? That in order to buy R-rated tickets when you were younger, they like carded you?
In order to buy, yeah, of course.
They
yeah.
did? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I
I think
can't
they still are.
remember,
I
yeah.
think they're still
Yeah, I got
supposed to.
carded.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm assuming they don't that often,
So-
but they're supposed to card. It's R-rated. Yeah.
I think, and I say this lovingly, Tucker, me and you are on the similar vibe of like, we probably get carded everywhere. And I think you probably get carded a little more.
Yeah, I think Tucker gets carded. a lot.
Tucker, you got like
I
a
get carded a
cardable
lot.
face.
I'm too old now, but for a long time, like until I was in my 30s. for sure,
Right. I get carded
all the
still a
time.
fair amount.
We're all
especially
pretty
if I wear
young
a
looking
hat.
for our age, I suppose.
I actually think everybody at WIP looks younger than their age. Spike, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Gilio, I would say.
Are we talking only
I don't think
full-time
Gilio.
talent?
No, because I think Gilio looks his age. And Gilio's younger than both of us.
That's
Right?
crazy to me. I think he looks young.
I think he looks older than his age.
Okay, yeah, he would count.
I think Gilio looks like he's like maybe not like 4, but I think Gilio looks like late 30s. I think he's mid 30s, right?
Okay, so
Actually, he might be late 30s by now. I think Gilio looks his age, but I
Yeah.
don't think he looks younger than his
I think as a whole though,
Actually, maybe he does. He has smooth,
he is
smooth
right in
skin
the
and
middle.
stuff.
I will say.
You're
It
right.
is-
If he had hair, I think he would definitely
Oh,
look
yeah,
younger
for
than his
sure.
age. Without a doubt. It's only that he's bald.
Yes, I agree. That's a good
That's a
point.
good
If he had
point.
hair, he would look like
Way younger, actually.
way
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
dude. I
You're
can't even
right.
picture him.
It's-
Imagine him with
I've
like
never seen- yeah, I know.
yeah.
Yeah. Flowing locks.
yeah. All right, let's hear yours.
I don't even know where I am anymore.
Yeah.
I had a few thoughts. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna go Zoe themed. First and foremost, a pair of the Zoe socks that I mentioned. What do you guys
Oh,
think?
there we go.
Pretty good, right?
That
Got
is
Zoe's
very good.
face on my
Very
sock.
good with the
The
face
other
painting.
one, I should have worn the other one because she's going like this in it.
That's pretty cute.
If you do.
Do you have on 2 pairs of socks? Okay,
Oh, I have long johns. on.
that's what I was wondering. Yeah,
Come on, are you kidding me? It's like teens
it is
out
very
there. Are you
cold.
kidding?
It is.
I wear long johns like most days in the winter. When you leave your house at 3:30 in the morning or 3:40 in the morning, whatever, like let me tell you, it's not that it's colder. It is colder, but it's like the hit of cold that you like it.
Yeah. Well, the
It
tough thing is you're
ruined-
cold in your car.
It
so.
ruins you, dude.
Yeah.
Like and your car. I have a little mini. It doesn't get that hot.
Right.
It doesn't get hot till I get to work. So yeah, I wear long johns most of these days when it's super cold out.
I'm not a long johns guy.
I know.
Just couldn't do it.
You're missing. You don't wear hats.
I don't
which
wear
is the
hats.
Craziest thing ever. He's like, he came in yesterday. He's like, man, it's so cold. I'm so cold. I'm like, wear a freaking hat.
I can't.
Moron. Like it's the number one thing.
You a muffs guy? You an ear muffs guy?
I would be an ear
only
muffs
if you can
guy.
put him behind. He can't mess with his hair.
Yeah,
it's all
put him
about the hair.
behind, so
Your
Yeah,
hair's
put
gonna
it
be
in.
frozen. Like it shouldn't matter.
I'm just letting you know when I wear a knit hat, it really messes my hair up for the whole day.
Yeah,
I know it's tough.
I think you got to
I
get
feel
over
the same
that.
way. Like if I do
Yeah,
that, I
I
would bring
do-
another hat to wear.
I would just
around
rather
golf.
be
Right.
cold.
But
I
your
would just rather be
you just
cold.
don't
I mean, rather be
understand it.
hot.
You don't
I mean,
understand it
know me.
because your hair just like falls nicely.
My hair gets messed up. I can
Not
fix
really,
it.
but like you just go like that.
That's like part of your boyish charm.
Yeah, it's a good point.
No, I had Okay, 3 thoughts on Zoe. First and foremost, I got her a Nintendo
3 thoughts on
for
that.
Christmas. Well, it's
Nintendo
a
Switch.
thought on Zoe and then 2 Zoe-isms.
Okay.
I got the Switch.
I know you texted
So
me.
I need advice.
Very fun.
I am asking the Go Birds listeners to help me out. We only have Mario Kart, and she wanted to
I told
get
you Mario Party.
Mario Party.
It's
Okay.
the best.
Okay. I need advice. What are good games that I could play with Zoe? Like, because
Okay.
like obviously I can get games for myself, like FIFA or this, that, or whatever. Like,
Yeah. I think sports games on the Switch suck.
good to know.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a shame. I do like sports games, but
I don't think you would play it, to be honest.
I don't think
Just
I would
my
either.
read on
Yeah,
it. I think you'd
yeah.
buy it and then you'd play
yeah.
like 4 minutes.
You're
and be like,
probably right.
Yeah.
You're right. So what games can I play with Zoe? I could really use some help with that. All right. So 2 Zoe-isms for you on top of that. One was just Zoe's been balancing things on her head, like a
As
book.
one does, yeah.
And she goes, I can balance anything on my head except for glass. Okay.
I think she's taking into account risk there.
Trying to not break it, I think.
Yeah.
It was a weird one. All right, this is a better one. This is
I bet I could definitely balance like
I think you'd be good at
cocktail
it.
glass.
You gotta,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, gotta consider that.
I believe in you. Yeah, the hair would ruin it. And then Zoe's rating system. Apparently, I didn't know this.
TV shows?
No, interesting. For
Yeah.
every life rating.
Yes.
So Zoe likes to give stars to things. Okay,
It's a take.
just learn the rating system. So we got her to try. We got tuna tartare at lunch. Went to lunch. It was really nice. Tried some tuna tartare, and we got her to try it. And she's like, "It's okay."
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Well, what's the best? 5?
Well, so this is where I'm going.
Okay.
You'll see.
All right.
So take a guess.
Well, without knowing the full scale, I was gonna say 1.5.
So she goes, I give it 20 stars. We're like, oh my God, wow. I'm like, how many stars is that out of? And she goes, 10,000.
All right. So honestly, my math wasn't that far off.
So Zoe apparently has a 10,000
My math
star
is
rating
pretty good.
system.
It's a good way to go about it. It's impossible for anybody to interpret, really, unless you're saying like 5,000 stars.
It's like, what are we doing here,
Like
dude?
700. It's like, I
What
don't know
are
where
we
that-
doing,
Yeah.
Zoe? Yeah. So anyway,
What was the debate we got
tuna
into?
tartare 20 out of 10,000.
I can't remember. Did
I'll
we
pay
get?
for
Was that
tuna
we got
tartare.
in the debate if 7 out of 10 was average? Or
Yes.
Yeah. That was
yes.
right.
Which I thought was a good debate.
It was. I'm
Because
curious
it's
where
not.
Zoe
It was
falls on it.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here we go. 20 out of 10,000.
Good
Oh,
to
this
know.
is weird. No, like who says 20 stars? Like, what are we doing?
Just give us 5 out of 5.
That's
stars.
like a normal number. My daughter's weird. Okay. We'll be back tomorrow.
There we go.
Can't wait. And then Bet Parks Big Spot on Friday, Saturday, show 1 to 3. Sunday,
There's a game.
the second the game ends, post-game pod. 7 days a week.